Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, for inviting me. I'm the only one up here that doesn't have a doctor in front of its name. It's pretty common for me. I know there must be a question as to why I'm here. I'd like to assure everyone in the room that it's not because I heard a voice in a cornfield. I'm here because the images that haunt us all today are the same as they were 20 years ago. The Exxon Valdez, who could forget the birds and animals covered in oil, men and women standing in rubber boots on the beach, armed with pitchforks and hay, waiting for the oil to wash ashore. It was both sad and heroic. The international community again is watching in awe as the most powerful country in the world is fumbling its way through the biggest environmental disaster in history. The Exxon Valdez became one of the moments in time that we mark as Americans, a moment where we as a nation collectively stop and live the same nightmare, 9/11, Katrina. It was hard for me to fathom how we could engineer nuclear power and put a man on the moon, but somehow not muster the technology to clean up an oil disaster of our own making. For the past 15 years, I have been an entrepreneur in the environmental technologies world. In 1993, I bought a patent from the Department of Energy for a centrifuge oil-water separator technology, a technology that I believe had the potential to fight catastrophic oil spills. I founded Costner Industries and brought together a group of scientists and engineers to develop a robust and portable device that would replace these reoccurring images and serve as the first line of defense in the oil spill cleanup and recovery. In 2 years, the dream moved from research and development to a commercially viable product ready to be deployed anywhere in the world. This was done without help from outside investors or government grants. The price tag would be over $20 million, and I paid it. Those with a science background will find our machines easy to understand. They are designed to separate oil and water at high speeds up to 200 gallons per minute, resulting in a 99% purity of water and oil. 5 different sizes were designed, with the largest machine having a 5x5 footprint. They would have the ability to be deployed on all manner of boats. The biggest plus would be that it would be easy to operate. That was always good news to me, considering I might have to be one to operate it someday. Let me paint a picture for you. Assuming 20 V-20s were deployed to the Exxon Valdez in the first hours of this spill, 90% of that oil could have been recovered in less than 1 week. The cost of recovering a spill on the ocean is a fraction of the cost of cleaning it on the shore. So what happened? Not to the 20 million, but what happened? My enthusiasm for what the machine could do was met with apathy, a refusal to move off the status quo. The list of government agencies, oil companies, and foreign companies we contacted reads like a who's who of those who needed it, those who should have been looking for it, and probably more to the point, those who should have been developing it themselves. I was told that it was too expensive, that there was no need, that the spills were becoming less frequent, at least the ones we could see. Many times we offered to send our machines around the world to aid in the cleanup where spills were happening. In 1997, we went so far as to donate our largest machine to Japan during a spill. While this move may not be viewed in the business community as a smart one, I hope it reads in the light of day as to the level of commitment my company had and the people working there had for this reoccurring problem. The same offer was repeated and refused many times on our own shores, an ugly catch-22 that you can read more about in my written testimony. As the Gulf Coast is under siege, I would ask the committee to now consider the valuable role that this machine, built over 12 years ago, can now play. Men and women in the oil industry are out of work through no fault of their own. Our fishermen have been sidelined because of this catastrophic disaster. Their families are now in that awful, uncertain place of not knowing the quality of life that awaits them. Our President finds himself in the middle of balancing an industry that hasn't considered the what-if scenarios of working on the high seas. He's faced with this weak response of an oil industry that is sadly not ahead of the curve. I know the President and I know this body want the American people to go back to work, but I also know that you want them to be safe. So how do we do this in good conscience? I believe this machine made over 12 years ago with all the care and science and money that I could throw at it is one major solve in this giant puzzle that will get people back to work. The American people deserve the comfort of knowing that there is a proactive solution to this everyday occurrence on our oceans, rivers, and lakes. It may seem an unlikely scenario that I am the one delivering this technology at this moment in time, but from where I am sitting, it is equally inconceivable that these machines are not already in place. I realize protection is not a profit center, and safety is never thought to be sexy. Who wants to wear the ugly orange life preserver? I want you all to picture something now. I'm a storyteller, so bear with me. You've got a boat. It's big, a big fancy yacht. Who doesn't want one? With all the fancy gadgets and security devices to make it run right. It's got a 38-foot fishing boat along with it. It's got a helicopter pad. Everything you could want, everything to make your trip go right. But there's an explosion, and now your boat is sinking. It's going down. Fishing boat, sunk. Helicopter, sunk. Jet skis, gone. And now the lifeboats are gone too. Everything around you is sinking beneath the ocean, and the one thing you have left, the one thing keeping your wife alive, your kids, is this ugly little orange life preserver that was hidden away, that was stowed out of sight. We've legislated life preservers. We've legislated fire extinguishers. We've legislated lifeboats and first aid kits. It seems logical that as long as the oil industry profits from the sea, they have the legal obligation to protect it, except when they would find themselves fighting for life and limb. A single machine can separate 210,000 gallons per day. What that means is the American people now have a rapid response, that they have insurance, a tool in the box, if you will, against another catastrophic spill. The American people can begin to put away their rubber boots. Florida Congressman Diaz-Balart asked us, where are the fire trucks? I left a meeting yesterday with Edison Schwest, the largest oil servicer in the Gulf. With our machine in mind, they proposed designing a vessel that would fundamentally change the world's approach to oil recovery. Together, we envision a world-class first responder vessel that could be strategically deployed around the world. Initial orders have also been placed by BP for individual machines. Right now, we are in a fight to protect our jobs, our way of life, and an ecosystem that cannot protect itself. Our machine is the right machine to take on this challenge at this moment. It doesn't require dispersants or chemicals to operate it. In short, we do not have to further pollute the ocean. The time is right for technology to take center stage in our country's prevention and defense against catastrophic spills. We can put Americans back to work and bring an entire industry into the 21st century of oil spill response. Thank you.
I thank all of our witnesses. I'm struck. I'll recognize myself for 5 minutes, and then as per the practice, we'll alternate on both sides.